sit there and enjoy.
I will sit.
Oh, very good. So good evening again. I'm going to present now the research of me and Wojciech Mazurek. This is my Polish colleague in Poland. We are excavating 10 years in the Sobibór camp. We have a lot of political problems. Always we don't have any year that we can excavate without problems. Political problems, not excavations problems. And as you see, he have a company. It's CReA. He is a private company. And Yad Vashem and University of Tel Aviv. And the first slide that you see here, just I have to see, all this area that you see, this is the mass grave area. And because of that, there is no trees in this place. And when we start our research, the rabbi of Poland told us not to touch this ground. But you will see what's happened when we start to excavate. We start to discover a lot of things, and it's lead us to this area. This monument that you see here, this is called the ash mound. But it's without ash. We check it because in one of the brochures, when I come in the first time in Sobibór, it's written that they bring ash from Majdanek to Sobibór. It was a little bit crazy to think about it, but it's not true. It's only sand on this ash mound, this ash mound. Now, the Germans choose this place because it's in the middle of the forest. You can do whatever you want to do in the forest, and even when we are excavating, nobody come to visit us. We can do whatever we want. There is a small village here that it's called Sobibór Stacja. This is the line of the train, and usually all the Operation Reinhardt camps are connecting to a station and the line of the train. So we are talking about 3 field camps. It's Treblinka, Sobibór, and Belzec. It's on the east border between what was the Soviet Union, and because it's a field camp, everything they are building from wood. Only one building, we find that it was from bricks. This was the gas chamber. And after they killed 1,700,000 Jewish people, they destroyed the camp. Each of the camp worked between 1 and 1.5 years. Sobibór started to work from April 1942 until 14th of October 1943. This was the day of the revolt. Because of this revolt, the camp was closed. In the camp, as what's written in Yad Vashem, 250,000 Jewish people killed there. And you will see the mass grave and you will understand that this number is not correct. And each camp of this, they're only between 20 to 30 soldiers, German soldiers, commanding on all the camp, and with the help of between 80 to 100 Ukrainian guards that help them, and in the camp between 300 to 600 Jewish prisoners that making all the horrible job. From all this camp, after the revolt, survived only 53 people. 53 people that can tell the story of the camp, and you will see it's a problem because in some area of the camp, nobody was visited, nobody survived. And because of that, I will explain it when we'll continue. Now, this is Alexander Pichersky, the commander of the revolt. And in the last year, Putin, with a brilliant act, make a ceremony like the Red Army released Sobibór. Unbelievable. It's unbelievable. And he invited me, and you can see this is our prime minister, to a ceremony in Moscow, and they say that Alexander Pichersky was from the Red Army, and they write, but because he was prisoner, when he come back after the war to Russia, he have a big luck that they didn't kill him. And he was starving until 1991 that he died, and nobody respect him in Russia. But now Putin wake up. And you will see that the story of the political things are touching everywhere in our research in Sobibór. So you can see the border of the camp still, but there is no fences, of course. And the first thing that jump in the eyes is this young forest. This young forest is totally different from the other tree. It means that somebody planted this forest after the war. And us as an archaeologist, we will go to see what's happening under this forest, and you will see that there is a lot of problems with the trees. Here, there is an asphalt square with two monuments without any sign. When I came in 2007, I didn't understand what's happened there. And you will see that it became the core of our excavations, this plate with the two monuments. To understand what's happening in Sobibór, we succeed to find in the archive in Washington a photo of the Luftwaffe, the German Air Force. In 1940, they make an air photo in the area of Sobibór, and you can see that there is no forest. Before the war, it was not forest. It was a farm, agricultural farm, but the second photo that we have, it's after they destroyed the camp in 1944. And you can see here a lot of barracks. Here there is something, and all the forest that was here, that today it's the mass grave area, is white. And for us as an archaeologist, we will go always to the white places because someone come with a tractor and destroyed the remains. And this is our mission. I will explain shortly how the camp worked. You can see in 1944 there is a train here on the ramp. This is the Vorlager, the administration, German and Ukrainian live in this camp. Camp number 1, where the prisoners sleep. Camp number 2 is very big because there was a lot of barracks here holding all the belongings of the victims. And what's happening is here they are separating the women, the kids, and the men, and they lead them to this yard and ask them to take all their clothes, to be naked totally, and they send them in a special road that starts from here and finish in camp number 3, and it's called the road to the heaven, Himmelfahrtstraße in German language, and if someone go in this road, he finishes his life. The story of camp number 3, you see, we don't have any survivor from camp number 3. If I want to know what was the size of the gas chamber, nobody can tell me. How many open crematorium? How many graves? All these questions was on the air without any answer. And I'm telling you that all the Holocaust deniers using this information against the story of the Sobibór, and because of that, our mission in the beginning was to find the location of the gas chamber. This was the title of our project. Camp number 4, you can see here, the German in July 43 arranged place to make a storage place for ammunition from Russia. They want to make it as a base to help to the German army with a weapon. And you can see here still 9 barracks here. Because when you hear bunker, you think about a shelter, something with concrete under the ground, but it's not. You can see it here. And I'm showing it here because we have 50 survivors, we have 50 maps of Sobibór. And each map is different. And you can see that camp number 4 is totally, they don't know where is camp number 4. And to explain you that all the survivors never saw camp number 3. They can only smell what's happening from there. Why I start in Sobibór? This is my uncles. It's Benzaken family. They live in Paris in the wartime, and the German catch them and kill them. We didn't know where. I decided in 2007, and because of that, the project started in 2007. I went to Yad Vashem, and of course, they gave me the book of Serge Klasfeld that prepared lists of all the Jewish people that sent to Poland. And for us, it was very easy to find the names of my relatives. And then, this is Convoi 53 from the 25th of March, 1943. a train with 999 Jewish go to Poland, not to Sobibór. It's going to Majdanek. And why I'm telling this? And look, it's very important because you can see Ben Zaken family. This is my family. As you see, my family is from Morocco. And there is another woman that in the end of the presentation, I will tell you because nobody in my family know who is this woman. Her name was Freba. The most important from this story, that only one survivor survived this train. And he said, yes, we arrived to Majdanek, and after 5 hours, they told us, continue to Sobibór. So, if we didn't have this survivor, Yosef Dunitz, we will calculate 991 where? In Majdanek, not in Sobibór. Because of that, the numbers that you have in the books, how many Jewish people killed in Treblinka or in Belzec, it's a big problem. We cannot give a number. Now, this is the area of the camp. This is the train station, and you can see a train here. The sad story of the camp starts with the 3 families that they are living in these 3 houses. The Polish government in 1960 gave these houses to 3 families that they are living until today in the dead camp. And I mention it because now they are building a new visitor center in this place, and we suggest to the Polish government to buy these houses because nobody wants to live in a dead camp and nobody will buy from them this house. And not to touch the ground, because you will see now, I didn't get yet to the archaeological remains, but you will see that we find a lot of things in this area and what's happening with the new visitor center that they plan. This is one of the problems. This is a sewage pipe. They decided in these 2 houses to make a sewage pipe, but they didn't ask permission from anyone. And it was a big luck because we were there in excavations and we find the basement of the pharmacy. We find 2,000 medicine bottles here. If Wojtek and me was not here, they will excavate, they will put the pipe, they will cover it, and nobody will know. So you must understand that what's happening in Sobibór, it's a big mess. Now, Marek Bem was the director of this museum 18 years. And as you can see, the mistake of camp number 4, it should be here. And he took all the 50 plans and he made statistical. He say, if 80% say that there is a barrack, I will put a barrack here. So he made this plan, and you can see the road to the heaven. There is a gas chamber 60 meters long and a few mass graves. And when we start in 2007, we ask Marek, from where you know that this is the size of the gas chamber? We don't recognize such a big gas chamber. So he explained us that in 2001, Professor Andrzej Kola from Turon University from Poland get money to look for the mass graves of Camp Sobibór. And he's using drilling. He's drilled. He's not excavating like we are excavating squares, and he drilled. There is a bones, he continued to drill until the ground is clean. He's measure how deep is it. He go 5 meters and another drill. And what you see here, it's close to 5,000 drilling. And this is the documentation of the drilling. You can see ash, bones, something with ash, and ash here, and this is natural sand. And he recognized 7 mass graves. When I'm telling you mass grave, you must understand, it's an open crematorium. To this mass grave, you put only ash, not bodies. And he found 7 graves. This is grave number 1, number 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Only to calculate. This grave is 75 meters, 25 meter weight, 5.5 deep. When you burn body, all the ash in 1 cup. So only in this grave, if we calculate that 30% it's a sand, 400 Jewish people you can put only in this grave. So you can understand that there is a problem with the numbers of the camp, of the people who die in the camp, and we cannot give answering. In this place, here, he find a lot of things. You know, another funny thing that happened, that the Minister of the Culture took the report of Professor Kola and buy it and close it. Nobody can read this report. We succeed to arrange this. We called to Professor Kola and asked, please, tell us what you have done. He said, no, the government closed, it's a secret, nobody can touch this report. So in this place, they excavate as we are usually excavating by squares. You can see they cut the trees. And they found a barrack, 60 meters long, that for the opinion of this Professor Kola, this is the gas chamber. And why? Because in this barrack, there is another barrack 14 meters here. They found 1,863 bullets. You can see the bullets here. And Professor Kola said, after they shut down the motors of the tank, if somebody is still alive, they took him outside and give him bullet in the head. So we start our excavations with this story. Another bad story. When they finish the excavations, this is not allowed in archaeology excavations. They took all the branches, they put it inside to the square and make a big fire. Can you imagine if we want now to excavate these squares, it's a big problem. If we want to check Professor Kola's job, it's not possible. Now we start with our excavations. We connect to what Professor Kola excavates. We open 2 squares. We sift all the sand of Sobibór. We have, you will see, a big sifting. And because we want to collect everything. From Professor Kola, we understand that we need to excavate 1.5 meters deep. But after 20 minutes, we find more than 200 artifacts on the surface. We didn't excavate at all. You know, in a few places we excavate 5 centimeters here, here nothing, here 2 centimeters. It means everything is on the surface. And you don't need to excavate so deep. And instead of 2 squares, we opened 8 squares. Each tree we took piece and count the rings to see and to know that the trees are after the war. This is not from the wartime, these trees. And you can see that we recognize 2 lines, dark lines, this one and this one. And archaeologists immediately said this is a wall. But it's not a wall. We have a big luck, there was a rain. And you can see that between these 2 lines, there is 2 sticks from wood holding probably a sign. And what you see here, it's a double fence that stands 3 meters high with a big sign that everything was burned and fall on the ground. And to convince you that this is what we find, in each dark line we find a lot of branches from the fence, a lot of pieces of wire and the rings. And if we will go and see how the survivor from camp number 1 remember the fences. All the fences in Sobibór, they use wood, ring, they put a wire, and they put branches like this, that if someone going in this road cannot see what's happened outside and inside. And we thought that we discovered the Himmelfahrstraße. But it was a mistake, because the Himmelfahrstraße from the movie Escape from Sobibór, the weight is 5 meters. And we find only 1.7 meter distance. And what's happened? It's new. Before 3 weeks, I got this photo from Russia, from the archive from Russia. It's very difficult to take from them documents. But as you see, this is the double fence, because it's 1 year after the camp. But you can see the wire and the pillars that holding. It's 1.7 meter. So we finished this season, 2007, with 2,000 artifacts. So it cannot be the gas chamber. Not possible. People coming naked to the gas chamber without anything. And because we told to Marek Bem that this is not the gas chamber, this is a garbage hill that the German pushed with the tractor. There was fences there. You can see perfume bottles, glasses. You can see this is from Holland, boxes for cigarettes. It's a mix of garbage. And because of that, Marek Bem punished us, and in 2008, we didn't get permission to excavate. It became personal between us. But, this is from the box, you can see Alex Munek, Vienna 7. You must understand that every name that we catch, we start to look for relative. And you will see we find the relatives, not of Alex Munek, but from the other things that we find. So in 2008, we bring team from Canada that are working with GPR. They are looking for oil, Worley Parsons, and they pay a lot of money to Marek to give us permission to work with the machine. And you can see the first thing that they took the area of the mass grave. This is the ash mound. And you can see very clear here the brown, and here there is nothing. And this guy, Paul Baumann, told us this is a big, huge mass grave, and here there is nothing. And we told him, but the Poles drilled grave number 1 and grave number 2. Your machine is not good, probably. You must understand that when you invite someone with geophysics, with GPR, you must explain him exactly what do you want, because they have so many machines and so many equipment that we don't know. But because they already come and we didn't have to pay for them, we use them. And you can see from 2007, we make a scanner, and you can see under the letter number 3, there is 4-point pink point. The distance between them is exactly the same and the same line. And the guy from Canada told us, this is the pillar of the gas chamber. Start to excavate there. A bingo. If someone come and tell you in the middle of the forest, start here, immediately, this is exactly. We are running with the GPS. We took all the remains from the wartime. It's the line of the train. It's the house of the commander and the tunnel of the sewage. And we put, and we try to make correlation between the air photo from 1944 to what we get from the GPS, because we want exactly to know where to dig. And you can see that the yellow, the Himmelfahrstraße, go to number 3. So this is what we are doing in 2009. We start excavations with Channel 2 from Israel. They pay for the research because we didn't have money. And we start, and you can see that we build a big net for sifting. We are working in all the conditions that you can imagine. And after 3 days, we have only yellow sand and not any pillars. Big disappointed, because yellow sand, it means natural sand, to stop the excavations immediately. So we called to Canada and asked him if they made correct with the GPR and the GPS. In the meantime, I told to Wojtek, until we get answer, let's open 1 square here, 1 here, and 1 there. And of course, when we became close to the asphalt square, I told you that the asphalt became very interesting, we start to find the post holes. It's mean this is and this. And every 3 meters, we have 2 post holes. It means someone took out the posts from there, and we have only the negative of the pillar. And then we saw that they made mistake of 15 meters, and they called us from Canada, and they told us, we made a mistake. We have a mistake of 15 meters, but we don't know if it's to the north, to the south, to the east, or the west. So you must understand that losing time when we are there, it's a big problem. The pillar, you can see we cut it to document it. You can see exactly the wood pillar that somebody pulled it out and organic material go inside. And because of that, it's dark. In some of the places, we find the pillar inside where they dig. For example, this dark object, this is how they call it in Poland, we cut it to the half, and we find the remain of blacksmith. But there is no building of blacksmith, but someone worked with metal there. So 2009, 2010, we find 65 pillars, no gas chamber. We find only double fence that we discover it from here until to this point. To go outside to excavate, we should have permission from the rabbi. And we have a big luck because the Polish government decided to make steering committee to plan the new visitor of Sobibór. Israel, Poland, Slovakia, and Holland participate in this steering committee, and they start to pay for the excavations because all the excavations until this year was very small because we didn't have money. So we've got the permission with the light, with this white plastic that you see, because above this is the grave. It's not allowed. He sent us representative of the rabbi that stand with us and see that we are not touching bones. And the German, as a German, every 3 meters, 2 pillars. And you can see the pillars here. But you can see a lot of pits like this. You can see that this pit, for example, cut the pillar. It means this was late to this one. And what you see here, it's a grave robbers. In Sobibór, there was a big looting. Everywhere we find the people looking for gold of the Jewish people. We have example from Treblinka. This is the member of Treblinka village with the soldier. There is 31 skulls here. And their pocket full of teeth with coins, jewelry, things that they are looking and digging in the ground. And this is exactly what's happened in Sobibór. It's the same. But nobody take a photo in Sobibór. You can see here that, for example, this pit, it's only 20 centimeters, not like a pillar, it's 80 centimeters. We find a lot of artifacts from 1964. It's 20 years after the camp is closed. In 1964, they built this monument. And we assume that the workers that built this monument was the big robbers of the Camp Sobibór. Because everywhere we find matchbox, cigarette box, coins, everything from 1964. Now, this is going to the north. So you can see that the double fence go to the north, and if we imagine that it will continue straight, grave number 1 and grave number 2 are outside from the fence. Now remember what the Poles do in 2001. They said that there is 2 graves. We didn't want to touch the graves, but now a big question. So you will see that it will make us a lot of problems, these 2 graves. We go to the south and we catch this line. You can see that this line here, and this is Kasha and Rafael. They are participating in the excavations. And you can see after a half day, we find 2 lines, this line and this line. And it's 5 meters. We find the Himmelfahrstraße, the road to the heaven, that if we will excavate until to the end, we get to the gas chamber. So you can see that in this line, they put a wood beam, 3 meters high, with pillar every 3 meters with wire. When the Jewish people going in this road, they cannot push the fence. And I'm telling you, everything is because the excavations. You must understand that the excavations in this kind of site are very important. It's not Neolithic and it's not early Bronze Age, but it's very important, this method. As you see, we have a lot of wire in these post holes. And as you see, we find 2 lines. This one and this one is not continue here. So what is the meaning? Where is the gas chamber? under the asphalt. Very simple. Somebody in 1962 marked this place. He saw a building, but he didn't know that this is the gas chamber. And there is no sign here. The guy who worked in the museum 18 years didn't know it. We go to this archive in Lublin before a few years, and we find the document of the designer of this asphalt square. And he said, I see the crematorium of the camp. And because of that, it's chimney, you see? And a statue. Now, between them, it's about 8 meters, but in 1965, when they make the first ceremony in the camp, the chimney and the statue was together. It means somebody in the 90s take out everything, and we don't know what's happened under this asphalt. We start to be worried. So, instead in 2011, to remove the asphalt, the steering committee asked that we will excavate only the road to the heaven. And as you can see, we are digging in the forest, square after square. You can see the two parallel lines. And we discovered 240 meters exactly of this road. And think about the Jewish people in minus 40 have to go naked to the gas chamber. You can die on the road. You don't have to be in the gas chamber. Here we find a structure, negative of structure. This is the casa. It's mean. We know from the survivor from this camp that if someone go inside, they have watch, they have ring, they have to give it in the casa. They give them a paper with number and tell him after you come back from the shower, we will give you back all the jewelry. So, you can see here very clear the gray lines. This is the agriculture before the camp. After it, we have this Himmelfahrstraße, it's marked by red. And we have order from the museum to cut all the trees in the middle of the road. And we start to cut these trees, you can see here. This is the Himmelfahrstraße of Marek Bem, and this is the correct. It's opposite. It's not the same. And because we cut trees, the police come to arrest me and Wojtek because we cut trees. We show them our permission from the museum. This is not responsible of the museum. The museum is responsible for the road. This road here, but not for the trees. And I told to Wojtek, you know, each tree, we will sit 1 week in the jail. He told me, from where you know? I told him, I don't know, but we have to think what will happen. Because he was very serious. He bring, how you call it? Horrible. He bring two for me and Wojtek. So we send workers to cover the remains of the trees because they start to count the trees. And it's a big damage. And we try to explain to this Ange Kola, to this Ange, not Kola, his name is Ange too, that we are doing a research. We are not selling these trees. So when I see that it became very difficult, you can see here the coffee cup. I bring from Israel coffee with cardamom, always. I told to this guy, please, let's drink coffee before you take us to the jail. And he said, okay. And we start to drink, and we have amazing conversation about coffee. There is no word to the cardamom in Polish language. And when I saw it, I told to Wojtek, bring the bomb. What you see here, this is a vodka that they made in the villages. It's 70%, 75% when it's fresh. After it's 70%. And we have 3 liters in our car to this situation. Because the most angry Polish guy that you will see, you tell him, Bimber, he will start to smile. This is exactly what's happened with Ange. Last year, we have even ticket of our bottles. You can see Bimber, but it's not legal, yes. And we drink, and I drink 1 liter. I don't know how I survived This Anje drink liter, and Wojtek, you see, is very big. He's twice than me. For him, it's nothing. But I was kaput on the floor with Anje, and Anje told us, come in Friday. And until today, we didn't go to the jail and we didn't go to the police station. But this Anje became part of our research. I bring him a half kilo coffee every time when I'm coming. Wojtek bring him 1 bottle of Bimber, and he cut all the trees without to pay to him. So it's a good solution. You can see the branches, the acacia. It's a big, big damage, all the trees with the roots. It's unbelievable. We find this, it belonged to the soldier, Austrian soldier. We tried to take out with the tractor, look what a big damage it's made. So we decided not to remove. We leave everything on the ground because you can see what a big damage. In the other side of the Himmelfahrstraße, this is the Himmelfahrstraße, it's here, we find another building, another casa. Because think, 2,000 Jewish people coming, 1 casa, it's not enough. And all this information became from the excavations. And I will mention it all the time because it's very important to understand that our job is very important. Look, we find a little bit, 47 pearls in this place. In the north side of this building, we find a small pool, probably for water, but the German destroyed everything. There's nothing left in this place. So this is the 3D. We made 3D of only what we excavate. Here you don't see nothing because we didn't excavate. And you can see exactly how the road to the heaven look. It's the same. It's exactly was like this. And the archaeological excavations give us the opportunity to make 3D and to make a 3D plan for all the camp, that it will be in the visitor center. This is the job of the son of Wojtek. So we have a family working together. What Professor Kola thought it's a gas chamber, we discovered that it's a trench for shooting. It's 100-meter trench. You can see how we recognize it in the field, 80 centimeter deep. This is the entering. There is a steps, always negative. Remember, we are working only with negative. And we find a lot of shells. And of course, Professor Kola find all the bullets in the other side. And it was for training. This is exactly how it was look in the wartime. So we think that it was maybe the Lazaret. Lazaret, it was a place when come a truck with only 10 Jewish people, you are not working with the gas chamber, you bring them here and you kill them in this trench. Now, as you can see, the green grass, the Holocaust denier start to publish against us that we paint with green color the grass, and because of that, because it's from the ash, there is a lot of organic material here, and because of that, the grass grow very nice. There is a pit here that I will speak about it, but the problem for the rabbi was that when you walk here, you walk on bones, human being bones, everywhere, and it's crushing bones. This bone was burned the high temperature, because of that they became white, and you cannot find one piece of bone, only crashing bones. So the rabbi, for him it's a problem, because when it's a bone, it's a grave. For him, everywhere it's a grave, so it's not allowed to walk on this area. In this place, we find a pit. Here you can see 4 meter on 4 meter. It's a garbage pit. For archaeologists, you say garbage pit, we are happy. It's a lotto, yes? Lottery. We excavate only half, and we leave half for the next generation to check our work. If we made a mistake, they always have control on what we have done. On this place, we find this amulet, it's Shema Israel. For the Jewish people, it's very important, this prayer. The Jewish people, the religions say twice, at least twice a day. And you can see, we have many now. This was the first one that we discovered. Now you can see, this is the mass grave. This is the pit. What's happening here? We start to excavate, and we find a corner here. You see the white? This is a mixed sand. This is a natural. We go to the edge of this, and we made a profile, and we find another grave that Professor Kola didn't catch with his technique of drilling. You can see it was the last grave. Only 70 centimeter layers of crashing bones and organic material, and 1.5 meters of mixing sand, because they didn't, we have a big luck that they didn't fill it until to the end, and probably it was after the revolt. So we have grave number 8 now, that you will see later that this grave became bigger. It means the Canadian with the GPR was right. All this area, it's a big mass grave, and here you will see what's happened. Now, because of the new visitor center, it became a rescue excavations. So instead to look for the gas chamber, we go to the parking place. It's going to be a parking place here, and it's going to be a huge building in this place. So we start to excavate here, and in camp number 1, they want to put a concrete plate for the speech of Alexander Pichersky, the commander of the revolt. So we were very surprised because we find the edge of the original ramp of the camp. You can see it here. If we will remove this asphalt, we have the original ramp of the camp. And close to this, you can see a mine train, because the German, this was the only camp that they used a mine train, because a lot of bodies arrived with the train, and they took it directly to the crematorium. And you can see very clear the edge of the ramp and the Nile of the wood. You can see the remains of the mine train. This is, we excavate everything. We find 160 meters of the remain. I show you this because now they are putting a sewage pipe and water pipe there. They are going to destroy all what we discovered. And why? Because this big building that they are building need to connect to water, to sewage, to electricity, to communication. And instead to think how to keep these remains and not to touch them, they do exactly the opposite. The movie is not working, yes? We will put later. Before 3 weeks, I told you I got from Russia, and you can see the gate, and you can see the train that go inside to the camp. Maybe it will work. Let's see. You will see what's happened to us when we are walking. No, it's working. You know, you see this? This is our drone. And the guy who fly with this forgot that there is a tree. See? Destroyed. And then we need to bring a truck. It cost us a lot of money with a big, to go up, to take it down. Because before this, we have this guy with a parachute. And once he fly in 2013, and it was foggy, we didn't find him, and the wind took him to Ukraine. And we have to go to save him from the Ukrainian, because they thought it's an enemy. It's coming and landing in Ukraine. So always we have stories in our excavations. Near to the mined train, we find the remains of building. This is the dining room of the Ukrainian guard. You can see the pillars. Every 1 meter, we have small pillar holding the floor. We know this from Eichmann trial. The guy who worked here, the survivor, described exactly this last barrack. It's the dining room of the Ukrainian. So we must take the evidence of the German, of the Russians, of the Jewish people with our excavations and to make the true picture of Sobibór. So we have the ramp with the mine train building, we have two cellars. Electricity machine was standing here, and here we find this tag of Leah Judy de la Peña. There is a date there, and it was the first time that we have a name of a kid, 6 years old. This is Leah. You see these small kids here, and this is her parents. And they sent to Sobibór in July 43, and we have a big luck because this girl, she is a Christian, so she survived. She heard about our excavations and our find, and she sent us the last photo of Leah. This is 1 week before Leah sent to Westerburg, and from Westerburg to Sobibór. So you must understand that this is very emotional because we find the relative of Leah de la Peña. This is the niece of Judith, and this is Leah on the name of Leah that killed in the camp. You will see that when we find something with name, we try to find the relatives and to make ceremony in the camp. This is the place where it's going to be the visitor center, the big building. So this is the rescue excavations. You see we are excavating everything. In Poland, you must excavate 100%. So we excavate and we find that this was the yard where the Jewish people take their clothes down, and we find 15,000 artifacts like this, only in this area, that now it's destroyed by the new visitor center. We find this sandbox and a lot of toys. And we discovered that this building that was the old museum of Sobibór was 35 years kindergarten of all the kids from the region of Sobibór. So the kids play in camp number 2 with the toys that we find in this place. You can see still from the Russian archive, this is exactly what was in the place where we excavate. Everybody clean it, but you can see what the Russians find. Kids, wagon, and a lot of plates, pots. Look how many things was there that the Poles in the years took everything and cleaned everything in the camp. Now you can see that there is no building anymore because now it's going to be a new building. We find a lot of pits, and we have more than 70,000 artifacts. And the Majdanek told us, why you are collecting everything? Bring us only the beautiful things. They are not thinking as a science. They want that we will through everything. So most of the artifacts are in the basement of the mother-in-law of Wojtek. And it could be a joke, but it's not. It's very sad. Here is more example. This is from Belgium, this one. We find a lot of artifacts from Belgium. This is something that we start to look for. We know that Jewish people from Belgium sent to Sobibór. We don't know how many, but we try to find how they arrived to Sobibór, probably from one of the transport that go from Drancy, cross Belgium, and they put the Jewish people and continue to Sobibór. Here is more artifacts, and this is our 3D. I mention again, only what we excavate, we are put on the plane. Now, this plate, probably Alexander Picherski didn't work here because stand here because we find a well. This well was full with 3,000 artifacts, and we find a lot of rings. We have 72 wedding rings with the name, not the last name, only the first name. And we know from the survivor that they say we will throw it to the well and we will not give it to the German. And here you can see the testimony. We catch it on the field. We find this tag of El-Azhar Contant. He was a soldier in the Dutch army in the First World War, and he killed in the camp, and we find this is the daughter of his brother, Ivona. She came, and they made a movie about El-Azhar Contant in Holland. It's very good for us. This is our office. Because we don't have office, we are working on the floor all the time. You can see how many artifacts we have. This is what we find near to the asphalt square. A lot of dentures. Even we find the tool that they took out the teeth. And you can see all the small artifacts that we have near to the asphalt square. And you can see commercial for the teeth, cream teeth. You see? This is from Holland, and the jam from Holland, and cream from Paris. So everything we can compare. Today with the Google, it's very easy. You put the name of the company, and you have all the commercial from the 30s and the 40s. We have a Star of David from aluminum. This is not from Fabricat. Only in Slovakia they made like this. I showed this slide because look how many jewelry we have. It's very expensive. We go to someone who told us this is a diamond. And I'm showing this because our worker could put it on the pockets. You know, when we are not standing about everyone. We have 25 workers, and we believe them, and they made a great job. For them, when they find something, it's like a party. It's amazing. You see aspirin. This is box with SA, cigarette box. This is from Marienbad, boxes for jewelry from Czechoslovakia. And you can see how many artifacts we have. We can put it in many museums in the world to share this information. This tag we find in 2011 only with number, without name. And we thought it's a soldier. But last year, we discovered that the number 122, this is Compagnon Camp. So we call them, and we find that this tag belongs to Aknin Masoud. We have all the information. It's unbelievable. It's like a police investigation. It's the same, very close. So now you will see only a short movie to understand what is excavations in Sobibór. It's only sand. We don't have hard ground there. So you can see it's very easy. We don't have a bulk because it's sand, it's collapsed. So we keep it as much we can, but after it we remove it because it's not look nice in the picture. You can see how we are sifting and how it's look in the field, the artifacts that we have. This is the Star of David. It was hiding under a stone. The prisoner hid it, that someone will find it. It's amazing story. And I explained to Kasha what is it, Shema Israel, because for them it was very surprised to find with Hebrew letters. It was very nice. This is the tag, and you can see how it's working. You know, because of in the summer, it's very difficult. Because of the trees, it's very hard to take photo. We need to clouds, so it's better to excavate in the atom. So this is the story of, this is the movie. And we will continue to the story in 2012. I remind you that we have here a big mass grave, and here we don't have like the Canadians say it. So I go especially to the Rabbi Shudrich and ask him, please give us permission to excavate here to see if the fence we can catch it here, and to check the two graves. And it's cost us a lot of money, not for us, for the steering committee. And as you can see, we start to excavate behind the ash mound, and we find the ending of this fence that go south-north. And now we have a fence east-west. It's mean for us, it's good, it's closed. We can start now to consecrate it in a special place and not to continue to the forest with the double fence. We find few nice artifacts here. And to remind you, the grave, it starts here and finish there. It's huge. Grave number 1. I called to the rabbi and asked permission to drill. And he said, no, if you drill, you will break the bones. So how to excavate such a big place? I told him bobcat, and he said yes. And you know, bobcat break much more bones from drilling. But as you can see, grave number 1, it's a clean sand. We didn't find any one bones, and because it was a winter, we have half meter of snow. We stop the excavations and come back, and you can see grave number 1 and grave number 2, clean sand without any bones. So the question is, why Professor Kola said it's grave number 1 and grave number 2? And then someone told us that Mr. Kola was not in the excavations. His student was there. He came only in the last day of the excavation to get the money. how he signed about this kind of report. Because for us, it's make us a problem, because now Professor Kola is not good. And he is the most famous archaeology in Poland. And 2 archaeologists come and change now all the things. It's a problem. Here you can see in 3 meters start to get water. Because of the collapse, we decided not to continue the excavations. And what I discovered in this year, what's happening here? No hair. I became bald like you. In about 2 or 3 years, nothing will be here. Now, if we don't have enough problems, the prosecutor of the Polish government come to visit us, and Wojtek tried to be polite, because we find 7 skeletons. It's the first time that we don't have crashing bones. We have these skeletons that all of them have a bullet in the head. We even in few skulls, we find even the bullets inside. So the police from Helm come to the place, close all the area with the plastics, and stop our excavation and told us this is a crime area. You don't allow to excavate. So I asked Wojtek if it's a joke, because we are excavating crime area. This is not a... And after 3 weeks, they send us a message that these skeletons are from the wartime, and for them, they don't care. Only 35 years. If it's 36, it's not interesting for them. And they enforce us to collect them and to put them in boxes and send them to the University of Lublin. You can see it's very hard work. It took us each skeleton 1 day. And we send it, and before half year, we got results after 5 years that from the DNA, they are Jewish. 1 sentence. Crazy. I don't believe that it's true. We think, me and Wojtek think different. Wojtek think this is cooperator, that's a Polish cooperator, that the NKVD execute them. I think this is the last Jewish that destroyed the camp. After it, we know that they shot by the German. Now, we finished this side without graves. We are only big pits for maybe planning to put ash. And we go to this crematorium, grave number 7. We discover that it's a crematorium. You can see a dark line, 3 meter weight and 20 meter long. They put the beams of the train, metal beams here. They put the bodies like this with wood, through fuel, and make a big fire. This is open crematorium. And we have like this, they found in Urduf. It's a concentration camp that the American released in 1945. You can see the beam of the train. You can see still bodies. They didn't burn totally. And if you want to see how it's work like this. This is not from Sobibór. We find 9 open crematorium in Sobibór. It's a factory for burning bodies. Without these excavations, nobody knows this story. But now it's forever. Here, on this dark sand, you can see we find still a metal beam. We find this tag of Daddy Zach. He was 8 years old. This is the address in Amsterdam. Most of the tag that we have is from Holland. And we sent to Holland, and of course, we have the photo of Daddy. This is Daddy who killed in the camp. And this is his relative, Liz, that she survived, and you can see her with her son. She came and they made ceremony in the place where we find the tag. You can see it's called, in Hebrew, it's Tfilat Hashkava. How you say it in French? Yeah. So they call with the phone because we need 10 men to make a prayer like this. In the Jewish tradition, it's not allowed only 1 or 2. You need 10 only men. So they called to Holland, and the first time that they pray about Daddy Zach who killed in this camp. This is our 3D. You can see the crematorium. We find the remains of crematorium here. It means the crematorium start here. This was the grave. Then they removed the crematorium to here, and they make it bigger. Because of that, the grave is going like this. This is the reason. Now, Wojtek and me are sitting and thinking what's happened with the asphalt. I remind you, it's 2013, and nobody gave us permission to remove the asphalt. And behind us, we find amazing barrack of the Sonderkommando. You can see the corner of this barrack, you see? It's a big barrack of the prisoner that we don't have, no one survived. And in the middle of the building, we find a tunnel. They try to escape from camp number 3. And even we find the tool inside the tunnel that they dig with it. This is an amazing story that nobody knows about it. Here you can see that the tunnel they protect with wood beam because it's sand, it's always collapsed. We asked to finish to discover this tunnel if they succeed to cross the fence, but the Polish authorities don't give us permission. This is how it's looked, the excavations. And what you see here, in 1996, we know because we find gloves from 1996, one of the survivors came from the United States with a lot of money, with a tractor, and make 22 trenches looking for the beam of the crematorium and artifacts. He steal everything and escaped to Los Angeles with all the artifacts. You must understand that it's a big damage because he destroyed grave number 4. He destroyed one of the crematorium. You see, this is a trench of the tractor. This is another trench. And you can see here a trench, here one, here, here, here. Destroyed everything. No possible to work like this. Half year before he died, he called to the government, to the minister, and asked that forgive him. But he don't know how to bring back all the artifacts to Sobibór. You see what a big, big mess this camp. We just start excavations and we find so many things around. On this floor, we have a big luck that he didn't find it. We find another tag of Anna Kapper, 12 years old. We don't have yet information about her, but I believe that we will do it. You can see grave number 6. We didn't excavate because a lot of bones. The rabbi stopped our excavations. We find, not in situ, a lot of not burning bones. And with the order of the rabbi, we bring them and we bury them and make another grave. You can see we cover everything. And then in 2014, we have permission to remove the asphalt. You can see, to remind you, this is the Himmelfahrstraße. We have the road and we have the asphalt square. But under the asphalt, you see 30 centimeters of concrete. And if we are talking that everything is on the surface, what they left, these people from the 60s. Here you can see that I lose more hair. Yes? It became worse every year, this story. So we remove everything. You can see all the debris we take outside, all the mixing things from the memorial element. And you can hear the sound of the shovels. It was very nervous day because we didn't know if we will find something, because this was the beginning of the excavations to try to find the location of the gas chamber. You can see that we are not sifting because there is no artifacts here. And under the asphalt, it was amazing. 4 rooms of gas chamber we find. This is only the base of the building. The building was exploded. Room number 1, 2, 3, 4. You can see the road that cut the wall here, cut here, and cut here. And then, after a few days, we discovered 8 gas chambers. It means the big building, it's 350 square meters. You can put 900 Jewish people in 5 minutes to kill all of them with this gas. In all the places when we have connection between 2 walls, you see this pit? This is exploding. The German put exploding. Where is the connection between 2 walls when they explode the building? We have evidence from Russia about this exploding. And here you can see a corridor with a lot of pillars that holding the floor of the corridor. 4 rooms here and 4 rooms here, and the motor go outside. I will explain about the motor in 1 minute. This is the chimney that they removed in the 90s, and this is the statue that they removed to here. We find line of base of pillars. There was a platform here. They took out the bodies from this side outside to the train, the small train that was here. And here you can see, in the beginning was only 3 gas chamber work in Sobibór, and the motor, you see it's a smaller room. After 3 months, they decided that it's not enough. They add 4 big gas chamber. They put this corridor with the pillars. You can see the pillars, they're holding the floor, and the motors go out. And because of that, we have such a big gas chamber. All the blue that you see, this is the explosion of the German. Here there is a big mess. All the green, it's what they do in the memorial time. This is the tunnel and the barrack of the Sonderkommando. And you can see these things here. We know for sure this is the gas chamber because in 1974, Hudel, one of the German soldiers, painted the gas chamber. 4 small gas chamber, corridor, 4 big, and this chupchik here, I don't know what is it, and the room for the motor. So if someone thought that this is not the gas chamber, this is the gas chamber for 200%. This is our 3D. We find few things near to this, in this area. You can see this ring. This is wedding ring, and another David Judah van der Velde. We find the family, and they don't want to speak with us. So sometimes it's not going like we expect. More artifacts. Now, the Poles decided that we don't understand of preserving things. We suggest them to cover the gas chamber for the winter in the sand. They decided to build this horrible tent, 100 millimeter in 3 days. After it, minus 20, and look what's happened with the gas chamber. They destroyed all the gas chamber, and they blame us that because of us, everything is destroyed. I have a friend in AP. I call them and I explode all the story, and they bring a special company to put silicate and to bring back as it was the gas chamber. You can see they preserve everything, and now everything's look better. You can see how it's look now. Now they cover it by sand. Now the story, they want now to make a memorial site. So they don't know how to do it. So they decided to put walls around the gas chamber. I don't understand the idea because the gas chamber was with the connection with the crematorium. And you can see always when they put Jewish, it's always dark Jewish with the hat like a religion one. You can see everywhere. And this is what's going to be there in the gas chamber. This is a plan that they suggest. They don't ask our permission, of course. They are doing what they want to do. And this is exactly how it's look. It will be around this is wall. We don't understand why. I explained to the Poles that walls for the Jewish people is not good because it's a ghetto. It's all the bad things coming with wall. I don't know why they choose this element. Now you can see the gas chamber is covered by sand, as we suggest from the beginning. This is the tunnel here. And here we excavate the barrack of the woman. The woman didn't want to walk 240 meters naked, so the German built 2 barracks, especially for the woman. We have survivors that cut the hair of the woman. You can see that the German, when they destroy the camp, they come with a tractor, with metal, and destroyed everything. You see, nothing left. But between this line, we find small pillars, a lot of jewelry, and hairpins because they cut the hair. This is, in the Himmelfahrstraße, we have a gate. We find this gate and we find this gate, so it was for sure that we will find this. And here we find this amulet. It's Mazel Tov, 3rd of July 1929, Frankfurt am Main. Immediately on the net, we send the information, and after 2 days, we've got from Frankfurt, who is this girl, belong this amulet. Only one girl burned in this date, Carolina Cohen. This is the birth certificate. But she sent to Sobibór with her parents and her sister Gita to Ghetto Minsk. When they destroyed Ghetto Minsk, all the Jewish from Ghetto Minsk sent to Sobibór. So we don't know if she came with this amulet or somebody else came, but this amulet for fact in Sobibór. The amazing thing that we union 102 relatives of Carolina Cohen that didn't know that they are family. And we even succeed to find a photo of Carolina. This is Richard and Elsa. She is pregnant with Gita. This is Carolina. You can see Carolina here. And before 1.5 years, in November, most of the relatives come to the ceremony of Stulfersteine. You know what is it? This is a sign with these bricks from bronze. It's like a statue in the front of the house of Carolina and her family. And they made a big ceremony. And it's the first time that somebody mentioned and talking about Carolina Cohen. And you can see even from Japan, we have Carolina Cohen too. In Israel, I found a few women that have this amulet, of course, with a different date. Nobody knows what is this amulet. We have Sarah Yakir, we have Bat Yashatz, Ruth Buchspan, she is sitting here with this amulet on her. And we find that Anna Frank, she was born in Frankfurt, and she has the same amulet as Carolina Cohen. So see what a big story of small amulet. Now in this movie, it's only summarizing what I explained you about the ramp. You can see the beam of the wood. They are cleaning everything here. To document everything, it's very difficult. It's not easy because it's a lot of things that we have to draw, not only to make photos. Everything is on the plan. All the sand that it's wet because it's water, we wait 1 week that it will dry and we sift everything. We didn't leave anything on the field. Everything is, it was sifting. You will see now the gas chamber. Of course, a lot of wood pieces. This is the work of the gas chamber, how we clean it, and it was amazing because a lot of press from Germany, from Japan, from New Zealand, they come to make a movie about the gas chamber because it's very important find for the Holocaust. Now, this is our 3D on the entry. This is camp number 3. And this is, we make animation, how the Jewish walk. Look that they don't see never what's happened in the end, because there is a turn, there is another turn here. Because when you send so many people, if they see something and they say, oh, we are not going, we are staying. But here, it's a play of the German. They plan everything perfect, that they will do the process very good. And you can see how it's look 240 meters. Now, the rabbi decided to cover all the area of the graves with stones. This is his representative moving bones with tractor. You know, if we made such a thing, they would send us to the jail. But for the rabbi, it's okay. So what they have done, they bring someone from Israel. They told them that he put a special stuff on the ground, and 50 years nothing will grow. They put fabricat, gray layer of gray stones, and after it they cover it by white stone. Nobody can walk. There is a lot of problem. First of all, we have acacia. After 3 weeks, all the bushes start to go out, and it's full of leaves, and it became green because of the wet. And I asked the designer, why white? After 5 years, it's look horrible. And another bad things, before 4.5 years, they bring us back the 7 skeletons. And we should put it here, but now the mother-in-law of Wojtek sleeping with 7 skeletons in the basement. It could be a joke, but it's not. It's very sad. This is the plan. They are going to destroy the Himmelfahrstraße. We suggest them to put a window from glass or something that people can see the pillars. But they decided to build a wall in the middle of the Himmelfahrstraße. And the story behind this, that it's horrible walk. Nobody will walk anymore in this ground. I think it's a big mistake because this is the only remain in this area. You can see the building. It starts with one building, and you will see that we have another building, of course. And as I told you, you see there is another building now. They start with a small building, but every time they are adding another thing. And you will see now what a big damage they have done. You can see this is the new visitor center when they start to build it. They destroyed everything here. But Mrs. Grezina and the people who live here, they live 5 meters from the visitor center. And now they are thinking what to do with these people. They are stuck in like this. Instead, to buy these houses, not to destroy everything, now they want to plant a lot of trees around them that people will come, will see like a forest. They will not see the building. The sewage pipe of this building, they destroyed everything. This is for the sewage. They decided to make a big hole for the sewage. And you can see the tractor working and destroying everything that you can imagine, because they put here a big pool for the heater of the museum. We find another pit in the front of the camp here. And from this pit, we find a lot of artifacts. You can see we find a plate, metal plate, that the Dutch people, they told them, you are going to a new building in Ukraine. So they took from the mailbox their name. They thought that they can bring it to the new place, but they stuck in Sobibór. Here you can see more remains. This is a Kupat Tzedakah. I don't know how to say it. It's in the synagogue, you put coins in this box. We find a piece of MG-34. This is the machine gun that the German shoot the Jewish when they start to escape. We thought that the visitor center should not be here, should be outside. But now you can see how they destroyed everything. We find even the leg of one of the tower of the guards. Now, this year, they decided to finish to excavate the ramp. So they make competition. Of course, we didn't won. This guy, this archaeologist from Warsaw won because he excavated in 3 days all the ramp with a tractor. Who can imagine that someone will excavate with tractor? No results. We don't know what they have done there. A big damage to this area. Now, these people, this is the local people. With them, we are working 10 years. And we are like a family. And without these people, we couldn't success in the excavations. Of course, we have to give them all the honor. And because of that, I put all the photos from all the years that every time we are doing this photo, and it's called Vienek in Polish. We are doing barbecue in Sobibór. It's horrible, but it's... Thank you. Now questions. No, I have another one. They have to ask me who is this woman. Nobody asked yet. No, they have to ask. If they ask, I will tell them. If not, it's not.
Yes, tell us about the relative, the woman.
You see. Okay, I start with my family. I will finish with my family. Of course, nobody knows, even my mother, who is Freba. This is my grandfather, Samuel Ben Zaken. And I discovered in Memorial de la Shoah that he was married to Freba. She was his first wife. And from this wife, he had 2 kids, Jackie and Morris Ben Zaken. And they divorced in the 1930. He ran them a photograph studio and returned to Morocco. In Morocco, he met this beautiful woman. This is my grandmother. And she was very young, I think, maybe 13 years old. She was without parents. She didn't go to the school. She didn't know how to write and to read. But she was a very clever woman. And against the opinion of his parents, they are married. And my mother was born here. This is my mother. And she had another brother, his name was Beber, and everything was very nice for 3 years. But they got typhus, my mother and Beber. Beber died, and my grandfather sit 28 days in the cemetery in Casablanca and died. He was so sad, he didn't eat. And then the Benzaken family made the big mistake. They came to my grandmother and told her, give the child and go away from Benzaken family. This is unbelievable, but this is the story. So my grandmother was she didn't want to leave her daughter, so she immediately married to a guy. His name was Shimon Aknin. He came, of course, with his kids. He was without his wife. She died from something. And because of that, my grandmother could keep the daughter with her. It's my mother. But this Shimon Aknin was very active, because every year, before 15 years, every year I discovered that I have another uncle in Portugal, in Spain. And then we discovered that he has 7 wives, including my grandmother. He worked very hard. So, because of that, they keep together, and I couldn't speak with my grandmother when she was alive. Always when I want to speak about Benzaken family, always she changed the subject. She didn't want to speak, and it's a big black hole in our family story, because she had a lot of information, but she died and she didn't tell anything. But the only things that we have from the brothers, we have one letter that they sent from Paris with money, because my mother told me that every few months comes someone with a beautiful clothes and bring her candies and a letter and money to my grandmother, and read from the letter, because my grandmother didn't know to read, that they are asking if everything is okay. And always this letter ending in the sentence, please keep on our sister Simi. This is my mother, because they send her money that she will go to school and not to be like my grandmother. Thank you.